GM friends, thanks for tuning in to DeFi-Logic's TA Tuesday live in our Discord every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. What is going on with the Bitcoin sell-off, Ethereum, as we're going to discuss today, and we will review charts for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and for legacy markets, S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and Nvidia. And with that, over to GForce.
Okay, thanks, Pepe. We're going to start with Bitcoin. As everybody knows, it sold out significantly, and part of TA was, did the TA technical analysis actually predict this or actually show this? So here's a daily chart of Bitcoin. So you can look here that this has actually formed a huge M, okay, the formation, looking back on the daily chart. Back here, in the month of May 20th, we had a huge pop, and then it actually formed a triangle, okay? If you follow any of my TA in the Discord, you'll see that the triangles are a price compression. So as you can see, the prices stay within this triangle formation, and then it gets to the point, which is always to the right side. And this is the circle here where it's either going to pop or drop. This one popped, of course, Bitcoin popped at this point. So from June 2nd on, it popped up, got up to 71,491, and then it started to come back, okay? So when it came back, it formed this M formation, okay? I got a big capital M here. And this midpoint is a critical point. Also, you can see that the second high point of the capital M right here never reached the first point, so that's bearish. So we're looking at it, it fell back, and then this line here, I'll extend out, okay? Once it broke right here on June 11th, it closed below that midpoint where I have the circle. It popped back up the next day, and then it's just gone down ever since, okay? So that was a key right there, that once it broke that midpoint there on June 11th, then things are going to go lower. You can see also I have this long line here. This is a long time level of 65,500. I've had that on my charts. I posted this in Discord in the TA charts. And once it broke that as well, then it just tanked. As you can tell, it tanked. So it went all the way down here, almost to the 58,317, which was this recent low, very extreme low on May 1st. Okay, it almost came there. It didn't tag it. It was shy of it by a few points. It came down. The low that day was 58,406. So it never got down to 58,317. That was low. And then today it's climbed back up. But it did tag the lower 3x band right here. Okay, that lower 3x band was 58,661. So it got down to that point, and then it's come back up. And now it's trading at the lower 2x band, okay, which today right now is at 60,871. So TA did predict this. If you look at it, once it broke that midpoint, you can see on this day here on June 11th, things are just tailed off. And then it closed below the 65,500 level, and then you knew things were definitely going to drop. It had a significant day at the low. Yesterday, it was down over 4,000 points, which is significant for Bitcoin, and now it's trying to recover. So we're going to see how it floats around right now around the 60,800 level. Hopefully it climbs back up and gets some traction, but as they say in legacy markets, this might be just a dead cat bounce. Moving on to ETH. ETH is basically back in May, it's just gone flat. It went flat for over 13 days. And that was just the ETF announcement. Everybody was waiting for that. I have this line at 36.94, which was this recent tops back here in April 8th. So it broke that line. Once it broke that line, it was significant, and it was climbing back down again. Now you can see here that it's also formed a triangle, okay? I don't need to overstress these triangles, but triangles form because of price compression. So you can see that it had a top here on June 10th, and then we had a baseline of 34.69. So this triangle, this diagonal line here was formed, and then once it dropped or popped, it dropped and it came back down. And then yesterday was also the low. We've had a low right here where the good thing with ETH, it didn't go as low as Bitcoin, and it stayed above the lower 2x band right here, which is at 33.21. And now it's trying to climb back up. But we've had the same issues that Bitcoin had is just once it breaks these support levels, then it just tanks, and then it tries to come back up from those support levels. So we see a lot of wicks. We have a wick here. We have a wick here on June 18th. We have another wick here on June 14th. These wicks are showing that, hey, what I've seen in wicks are usually where it goes up the next day, which it has, but it's a testing to see if the markets will take these lower levels, and the wicks usually say no, it rejects it, comes back up. But lately, I've even seen this in legacy markets that the wicks actually start to, I don't want to say fill in, but to get back down to those levels on a regular trading day. So you'll see that this wick here on June 18th actually was traded in a full bar or a candle yesterday, okay? So those are things to look at. I'm finding those are very interesting, where the wicks aren't really predicting a reversal, but actually a fill in later on. Moving on to Sol. You can see that Sol has peaked back in May, has come down to the standard deviation line, which is this black line, and it's trailed there for a while. It tried to get back above it, never did, okay? And then we have a wick here on June 7th. So this wick actually starts to get filled in, or covered, I should say, and then it just tanked down this lower 2x band. So it just walks down these bands. As you can tell, these bands are very important. It bounced off of the 3x band right here on June 11th, excuse me, and then it just pops back up, and then it continues to walk down the bands. So we have really no good traction with crypto right now. I'll throw in one more that I do cover, which is Total 3, which is supposed to be crypto, excluding Bitcoin and also ETH. So I do cover this every day on TA charts in a Discord. This is just also coming down as well. I had a channel here, the support at 680.53, long support there. This has been a long channel that I've had for quite a while, and also with a bottom of 615.37. And you can tell once it broke that, it's not the drastic drop like Bitcoin and ETH. And again, this is crypto with excluding Bitcoin and ETH, and it's just fallen and flattened out. It's trying to get some recovery. So on here on Total 3, if it can get above and close above that 615 level, then it could have some support and then go back up. All right, moving on to legacy markets. I always start with the S&P 500. It's just been going crazy, opposite of crypto. It didn't close above the 5,500 level back on June 20th, but it went up to 5,505, and then it's fallen back down at that point. So it's going to probably rally back up. It's got two choices: rally back up to 5,500 level and close above that. But what I'm watching is this gap right here. You see these gaps, they get filled in. Legacy markets, gaps get filled in. The reason why gaps get formed is the open and close. So you see the close here on June 11th. That's been an important day all the way around. You'll see that it closed at 53.75, and then the next day you have a gap, and the next day it popped at the open at 54.09. So this gap will get filled in. I think it might get filled in before we get back up to 5,500. But legacy markets are all data dependent because the Fed's on pause mode for interest rates, and any kind of good economic news that the traders like, it'll just go back up. So it's hard to have a direction without the economic news influencing the market significantly. Moving on to the Dow Jones 30, you can see we had up here back in May, middle of May, we hit the 40,000 level, but it's cranked back down, dropped all the way down to the standard deviation line right here, okay, which on May 23rd, and then it's dropped to the lower 2x band. It's bounced off of that, and then it's gone back up to the standard deviation line. And right now we're at the upper 2x band. Okay, so it's floating around that band, which is right now at 38,251. We had an extreme yesterday where it popped, almost touched the upper 3x band, but it's dropped back down. So today it's down significantly. I think there's some news going on that tomorrow, which is Wednesday, that one of the economic reports isn't going to come in as good. So the Dow's pulling off of that, but that's all speculation and rumor, and I usually don't talk about speculation or rumors at that point. Moving on to the dollar index. This has a little bit of hope for crypto because the dollar index is a inverse correlation with crypto, and it's popped up. It actually dropped yesterday and it's going back up. So right now the inverse correlation isn't really in effect, and I don't know why. It's just usually when the dollar index is up, crypto's down and vice versa. So right now, I think everybody's trying to find some footing. I think crypto's trying to find some footing. Looks like the dollar index is trying to find some footing, but it's staying above this 105.11 level. So I think this is going to probably stay above that level because I think crypto's going to have some difficulty going forward. I'll just add Nvidia right now. I'll pop that in since we're talking about it. I posted in Blue Chip channel over the weekend that it's called a dojo, candle formation on Friday. It was bearish dojo. And I said, I think it's going to go down to the standard deviation line, which it did yesterday, Monday. The line was at that point 21.13. So today it's trying to climb and see, we might get a bounce off of it. It's hard to say. Once it tags that, it's hard to say what direction it's going to go. Usually with Nvidia having so much support, it could go back up to try and get back to this all-time high, which it had at $140.76. Now, if you guys don't know, why is there such a price difference on the trading price? You'll see here that Nvidia had a 10-for-1 stock split, okay, back on June 10th, which is significant. Usually you have a 2-for-1 or maybe even a 3-for-1, but to have a 10-for-1 stock split, that's crazy, actually crazy. What happened is that if you had 1 share of Nvidia before June 10th, now you have 10. So that's why the price is where it's at this point in time. Okay, I'm going to move down to the US 10-year. We're talking about, this is the 10-year bond, it's yields. So that's why everything is not in dollar prices, but percentages. It has just flattened out. You can see that it went above 4.5%. This affects mortgages and any kind of borrowing, even credit cards. And then it is climbed back up off of that lower 2x band. And now it's fading. It never got back to that 4.5 level, so it's fading. And interest rates are holding steady because the Fed is pausing. There's a lot of political reasons for the Fed to pause and stay on the sideline. There's a lot of political reasons for the interest rates to stay low till the election. And that's what's pretty much happening, is interest rates are staying low till election. The Fed doesn't want to interfere with election. They're trying to make the economy look better than it is because they don't want to interfere with election. So that's the political reasons behind all the economic elements and indices that we have. So I will go back, very last, I'll cover gold. Gold is pretty much flattened out. I've covered this quite a bit way back in April. I usually don't cover gold last year, but this year I'm definitely covering it because it just popped. If you can see here how it did pop all the way back from March. So March, it was down here, $2,044, and then it just had this huge run up, went tagged the 2,400 level, which was, gold usually doesn't do this. And then it has just traded between the 2,300 level and the 2,400 level. So there was a lot of geopolitical reasons. This run up was before the Iran missile attack Israel and all those things, but it's holding steady at this point. So gold is just flattening out, which I guess is a good thing for geopolitical reasons, but right now it's trading sideways, but it'll stay between 2,300 and 2,400 for a while. Okay, that's all I have for today. Pepe, I hand it over.
Thanks, John. Yep, a lot of nice callbacks. You have definitely been on it in the server. If you enjoy our content, give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more crypto trading and overall market content. That is it for this week. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week at the exact same time or for the recording on YouTube. GN, friends.
Join us next week in Discord for TA Tuesday at DeFi-Logic.com.